This is Jeffrey Davis, and I'm still in the studios, and we're still talking to entrepreneurs. And again, we have two different types of entrepreneurs in the studio. We've never had scuba divers before, but our next guest is Nick Fazah, excuse me. I can't believe I goofed that one up. And Alex Dulavitz of East Coast Divers in Brookline, correct?
Yep,
great.
That's us.
Welcome, guys. Now you're virtually new entrepreneurs, aren't you?
Yeah. So we've been working in the dive industry for the past 10 years, but we've only owned our facility for the past about year and a half.
Right, and it's you bought it. It's an established facility, correct?
Been around since '74, so this is actually our 40th anniversary this year.
Now, since we're, it doesn't, I don't think anybody listening right now, generally speaking, would be thinking about scuba diving in Brookline right now. But is there a big market for scuba diving right now, and a store like that, or a lot of scuba divers in our area?
So it catches people off guard, absolutely. One of the things that most people don't think about is some of the largest populations of divers aren't in places that are close to the water. Colorado actually has the largest population of divers nationwide.
Where do they dive?
Other places for the most part. They're travelers. They like to travel to different parts of the world. They like to, see different types of aquatic environments and be able to experience things. When you think about Colorado, the kind of people that live there are people who like to do that. They're outdoorsy types of people, and those people live everywhere, including in Boston.
Wow. So there's and you get a lot of business in the winter, I assume, because people are going to warm climates in the winter.
Absolutely. Yep. So most of the people that we work with throughout the winter are traveling to other places, looking to get a mask properly fit, looking to get snorkels or fins, get information on different places to go to, because we also travel and take people on trips places. So
no, I have to admit, I'm a scuba diver for our listeners. It just didn't happen, and actually, I just got fitted from a mask for you. I think I've been a diver for over 15 years, and it's the best mask I've ever had, and it's because I think it was one of you two helped me get fitted on. I don't remember which one it was, but It really was an incredible mask, and it really was exceptionally comfortable, and that's important.
It makes such a difference when you have a mask that actually fits you correctly, as opposed to just kind of slapping one on and just hoping that it fits.
Versus my old one that pinched my nose.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Little things like that make a big difference.
Makes a big difference. So let's go back a little bit in history. Why did you go into the business in the first place? I mean, clearly you were scuba divers. It's an athletic endeavor, and that's a long stretch from being a scuba diver to being an entrepreneur.
Sure, yeah. So originally it started out as opposed to being an entrepreneur, I was becoming an instructor, and that's when me and Nick actually met, as we were both getting our instructor certifications down in the Keys. There's a couple of different paths that you can go on after you do that, but one of the best ways to get immersed in what you're doing is to work for a facility. And I'm originally from the area, so I came back and I ended up meeting the original owner of the facility, really having a good relationship with him, and I started teaching. Got in touch with Nick because we became good friends when we were getting our instructor certification. And I found out he was back in England, still kind of looking for work, and I said, the guy who owns the place is looking for another person if you want to come out. And Nick, being dual citizen, was able to come over here and start working at another one of his facilities, and we've just been.
And how long ago was that when you bought the store?
Well, we bought the store in October 1st, 2012, but we started working for East Coast Divers back in the spring of 2005.
Okay.
So,
now, would you say that all dive stores are the same, or do you have some form of competitive advantage?
I definitely don't think all dive stores are the same. The competitive advantage is, it's interesting. The way that the dynamic for the industry is, a lot of the dive shop owners that are out there now are definitely beginning to age. They're getting a little bit older, and that's not to say that that's a disadvantage to them by any means, but it does give us a helping hand that we have a little bit more energy in the industry, and we're actively diving. Alex and I are leading a lot of the trips that we do abroad, but also leading local diving that we're also going out on. And I think that's what gives us our biggest edge, is that we're not just trying to sell trips, we're trying to get people to come diving with us. It's when you come to ECD and you hang out at East Coast Divers, it's it's that experience of diving with the whole group. We're a community as opposed to just another storefront that's just trying to sell you a snorkel.
It's like a dive club.
Right.
Yeah, that's really the way that we look at it. In fact, in the past 6 months, we've gone ahead and eradicated some of our displays up front to replace them with things like couches and water fountains and coolers.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
That's crowded in the middle of the store.
And we're trying to make it a more comfortable environment for people to come into. So if you're even just looking for some advice on something, you're going to a place, you want to know some good operators to work with. We want people to feel comfortable coming into the store and chit-chatting with us.
So let's talk a little bit about the dive community. So do you run dives locally? Do you run dives to the Caribbean? Do you do trips?
Yeah.
Two different sources. One's a day trip locally. One's a real trip.
Yeah. So we do really what I consider to be 3 different types of trips. We do local day trips, which we can either go out on a boat, dive a local wreck. We can go out lobstering, where we'll actually collect lobsters underwater. We do the same thing with scallops, come home with a big feast, which is a lot of fun during the summer. We'll also do short trips during the summer too. We'll go down to the Carolinas for 3 or 4 days, or up to the St. Lawrence Seaway and dive different wrecks in different environments where we can kind of get away real quick. And we'll take anywhere from 20 to 40 people on those trips. And then we do some bigger trips down to the Caribbean. We have a trip leaving in a couple of weeks going to dive the Galapagos Islands. So we go to a lot of pretty cool places.
I've been to the Galapagos. It's lovely.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Did you dive when you were out there?
You know what? I'm having trouble remembering. It shows my age. I do remember. Was it the sea lions or there were about 60 that we came across one day. That's what I remember.
Yeah, they're everywhere on the surface. It's the same thing underwater though. You'll be swimming along. You'll be looking at turtles. Yeah, exactly. They're like dolphins, like we were talking about. They'll come up and play around with you and then take off, which is
they're a lot bigger than dolphins though, aren't they?
They can get really big. Yeah, and they're in my experience a little bit more aggressive. Where they'll kind of bump into you, nibble on your fins, and really
no one's ever touched my fins in years. Although I did have a fish last year when I was diving that was trying to be affectionate with me. It wouldn't go away. Trying to attach itself to my leg, and I didn't like that. I always figure underwater, you don't touch me, I don't touch you.
Yeah, those rules don't always apply.
I like to look and let them look. That's fine. No touching. So now that you've been in business a little more than a year, has it been different than what you expected?
Definitely. Yeah. The first year was a massive learning curve. When you're finally under control, as opposed to like the management aspect from when we were just working for the previous owner and just kind of running day-to-day operations and kind of going forward to making decisions that are better for the business overall, and just trying to think ahead and outside of the box as to what's for the greater good of our divers and the community, and having that influence over the shop has been really quite astounding.
What about the financial commitment? Has it been harder? Before you were paycheck employees.
Yeah, before we were paycheck employees, I'm not going to lie, the first few months I definitely lost a lot of sleep. I'm probably going to say Alex is the same. We had a few nights where like, holy wow.
It still happens. Yeah, we'll still have some situations we'll walk in and be like, all right, now what?
But it comes, and I think as long as we keep pushing, this year we're kind of over that hurdle of just trying to figure out the semantics of getting the business to run smoothly, and installing all of our new operations, and kind of updating that operational procedure over the previous owner. So now we have all those fundamental systems in place. This year we can really focus on doing what we love, which is getting out, diving, getting people excited about the sport, and letting the business do its thing and do what we do best, which is dive and have fun.
And you teach people how to dive too, because a lot of people talk to me about diving, but they've never done it. And I think there's a big fear factor.
Yeah, that's one of the really interesting things, is there's a lot of anxiety and preconceived notions about diving, and that it's very, very scary, and it's still quite militaristic in the training. But the way that we tend to train is that we have a very relaxed atmosphere. We take the training seriously, but it should also be fun. You're there to enjoy yourselves. You're not there to be beasted and drilled left, right, and center. So, when we teach people, we have certain aspects of our instruction where we have unlimited instruction, no additional charge when you sign up for a course with us. So that when you pay for a course, you're not paying for a certification card. It's not that you're there just to go through the hoops and get check marks. It's you're going to pay us to actually teach you how to be in love with the water and be comfortable in that environment, because we want you to have the same passion and enthusiasm and love that we share for the ocean. And that's, to us, only fair.
I always tell people, give me an hour in the water and I'll make you not scared of it.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
And I'm not talking about scuba diving, because I was a swimming instructor. So
Right.
I just say it's you're probably approaching it as if it's land.
Yeah.
And I also tell other people who tell me, well, I like to snorkel. I'd say, I'll take scuba diving over snorkeling with people kicking me in the face getting off a boat any day of the week. I'm not a big snorkeling fan.
No, that's true.
Guys, if somebody wants to find you or find the store, how would they do it?
So we're in Brookline. We're right on Route 9, in between Harvard and Cypress Street. So we're easy access, whether you're outside the city or whether you're inside the city, which is really easy to get to. There's on-street parking, which is great. You know, the best way to learn more about the shop is to either give us a call, 617-277-2216, or you can visit the website, which is the letter E, the letter C, the word divers.com. And we have a lot of information